It's hard to not go in with any sort of expectations, and it's extremely difficult to not compare because you have all of this material to compare things to. Let's say there were only 10 films in the MCU at this point. This would probably be top third of those 10.
I'll give you top third. Hello, welcome to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. We're talking about Captain America, Brave New World. Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, finds himself in the middle of an international nefarious plan that he has to take care of because he's the good guy.
You and I haven't always agreed on how much latitude enhanced individuals deserve. But what you've accomplished has given me reason to reconsider. Which is why I want you, Captain America, to help me rebuild the Avengers.
You've seen it. Now we're going to talk about it. Captain America, Brave New World. We'll also give it scores. And we have the big question.
The big question this week is, what is the best scene you've seen open a movie? So the best opening scene of a film. I can't wait to get to this, you guys. I'm so pumped.
All right, let's get some initial takes on Captain America, Brave New World. Let's start with Justin Bradford.
Well, I see Gover has a big notebook full of lots of writing downs. So
Look at all that.
I don't know if we're going to necessarily argue on this one, but I know he's going to have a lot to say.
Let's hope so. They're random notes as I see them film. I'm just drawing.
I know they're not always within the lines, you kindergartners.
Well, they're also not legible sometimes because I'm just drawing in the dark.
Okay, so there's been...
I think I drew that on somebody's face at a fraternity party in college while they were passed out. Justin, what you got?
There's obviously a lot of pressure on Marvel right now, especially in the movies.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much pressure in the television shows because overall the television shows, you like them, don't like them, but there's not as much pressure, right?
Stakes are lower.
The stakes are way lower. So there's pressure for this movie to at least deliver or move things along because I think a lot of fans have been wanting the story to get on with it.
Yes.
Kind of thing, right? We know what's potentially happened. We've seen Fantastic Four teasers. We've seen that what they have planned in the next couple years, but how are they going to get to that? I say all that to say that I didn't necessarily feel like we got a lot of moving along. We got more from Sam Wilson. We got an introduction. Obviously, we knew it was going to happen based on Falcon and Winter Soldier, which became Captain America and the Winter Soldier, with the new Falcon as well, too. Overall, I thought it was fine. It was fine. It's not blow you away. It's not something that is earth-shattering like we got with a Winter Soldier or even with a Civil War or things like that. For Sam Wilson to finally get his own standalone, I thought it was fine. It is very difficult with the MCU now because there's so much to compare to, right?
Sure.
It's extremely difficult for something to really stand as the cream of the crop. We acknowledge that it's hard to not go in with any sort of expectations, and it's extremely difficult to not compare because you have all of this material to compare things to. Let's say there were only 10 films in the MCU at this point. This would probably be top third of those 10.
I'll give you top third.
Now,
Maybe.
with where we're at, it falls in the middle for me. It's right around the middle because, again, it's not awful. There's been way worse. We got some good fight sequences. We got some fun acting. We didn't have forced Easter eggs as much as you sometimes get in these Marvel movies. I thought Harrison Ford was fun in taking care of his role. The first act and a half seemed like it was basically a copycat of the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, very similar.
And then it finally moved along to not be a copycat. But again, it's hard to put my finger on what it really was because it was fine as it was. I wanted a little bit more. It would have been great to have a little bit more. We're finally, I think, going to get that when we introduce Fantastic Four. We're going to get something different that people have been kind of waiting for. Not to say it's old. I do love Anthony Mackie as Captain America.
Agreed.
I like that it's a different personality type from Steve Rogers, which you need. You can't have the copycat. You can't make it Steve Rogers from Wish or anything like that. You have to let Anthony Mackie be his own Captain America, and I like the way he's embraced the role as it is.
Can I jump in there because that's exactly.
Please.
I think my thoughts is that Anthony Mackie as an actor is having to live in the shadow, just like Sam Wilson is of, Steve Rogers. So I'm rooting for him because I find him extremely likable. I like his unique character. He's not the same guy. And so I was kind of hoping this would be a little better because I'm like, he deserves better. He deserves a great movie. It was just an okay movie. I thought it was a lot of like, we're in a new location. Oh, now it leads us to a clue. We're in another location. And there was a little too much going on for me. I thought the final third, action-wise, was pretty entertaining. Yeah. But overall, it's not a standout movie for me. Gover, what'd you think?
I was entertained. Okay, I really liked it. That being said, I am a Marvelophile. I've seen all the Marvel movies and shows. I think I may have missed like one short or something. But I've seen all the stuff. I know all the background. So I'm not questioning why there's a celestial coming out of the Indian Ocean. And I'm not.
I did. I forgot. Because it was the Eternals.
The Eternals, yeah.
So I'm trying to forget it really hard.
So I'm not questioning these things. But if somebody who is not well-versed in the Marvel Universe goes to see this, I'm not sure they're going to enjoy it as much. There's things to love about it. The action sequences were fun. I thought it opened up with great pace. And I thought there was some interesting ways to shoot people and kill people, and which, of course, I always appreciate on this show. I really love that.
Yep.
The wing through the... the Captain America wing through the plane wing to take it. That was really cool. Giancarlo Esposito's character shooting him through his jacket there's certain things that are really awesome.
Really cool fight choreography.
Yeah, really cool fight choreography. That being said, it's at the end of the day, it was too disjointed to me in the sense that you're right. It's one location, clue, next location, clue, next location, It's just like, okay. So for me, it's very mid, and I realized this walking out of the theater. This is, sans CGI world. This is Quantumania, but at least Quantumania had Jonathan Majors. That's what this is.
Okay. Interesting. I don't think it was as fun as Quantumania.
I agree with that.
I think Quantumania had a little more comedy to it, but that's okay.
Little.
A lot more. Yeah.
No, it's a different style for sure.
Yeah, it's a different style.
Yeah.
I want to bring something up. I want to see if either of you two picked up on it because I'm the music guy. The score was distracting at times.
It was. It was.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And it was cliche at times where there's nothing in the score. It's quiet, and then you see somebody rising out of the rubble, and you just hear like. I felt like it was like a 50s B movie, It
was so distracting at times that sometimes it overpowered the dialogue.
Yes.
And then there were other times when it was music for the sake of music, and there wasn't a reason for the score to be leveled up in it. There's some points in movies where it's okay to just have the natural sound of they're driving or they're having dialogue. It felt like there's just too much score, and that's a lot coming from me, right?
Right.
Like usually the score helps drive the movie. It helps set the scene, the pace, so much.
There's been movies you couldn't stand, but you're like, hey, at least the score was great.
Yes.
This score was very distracting to me, and I thought it took away. I'm pulling a Gover. I take away points because of the score being distracting. I feel like
welcome to my world, buddy.
It didn't mix well, and it took me out of the movie a few times.
Yes.
I'm like, why was that necessary?
Yes.
And that's not like me. That's how distracting it was, if I'm saying that.
We've said on this show before how the music can make or break a movie, right? But
Home Alone.
We've also said We've also said that I can't remember what movie it was, but the entire score in the example I'm thinking of that I can't name, of course, is the fact that if it's always up, if it's always intense, if it's always crescendo, then none of it is.
Right.
Because it's okay, you're playing every scene like it's the finale. It's not the finale.
You can't scream the whole time.
Yes, exactly. So for this, and I'm not saying this one quite got there, but I agree with you that there were probably 3 or 4 different spots in the film where I noticed the music out of place
Yes.
for the tone or the scene or whatever.
I actually made an audible noise. That's weird.
And it's especially prevalent in the first act.
Yes.
And that's why I felt like something was just off.
Yeah.
In the first act. It finally came together. And again, there's plenty of things that were distracting in the film. There's some choppiness to it. But the first act was very distracting for multiple reasons. One, because I'm going, why is this copying Winter Soldier? But then the music and so many other things, it finally came together. But yeah, the first act, music was extremely distracting.
Agreed.
I want to see what you guys thought about Harrison Ford. I mean, he joins the MCU. I feel like that's a big enough superstar of an actor to at least warrant a small discussion on what we thought about his performance.
I thought he was surprisingly great in this role. I thought because I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe so much that I would only see the original actor, Thaddeus Ross, and I thought he was great. They actually addressed it right up front without saying it, where he had like an archival clip of him with the mustache, and I was like, all right.
Lose the stash or lose the election.
Yeah, but that was the line. But before that, they actually showed a clip of him with the mustache.
Yes.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I bought in. I'm good. You know, he talks about his daughter, and they brought her. It's really great. So I thought he was surprisingly great. I did not care for the CGI Red Hulk in parts. There were parts that I did care for that I thought were, okay, I believe this. My brain is able to make this leap. But there are other parts, I'd say 35% of the Red Hulk fight I thought it felt
35.
rushed.
What a...
I mean, it's not quite half.
And not quite a quarter and not quite a third.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think of it like that. But
of all the numbers.
I don't know. 37.3% of the Red Hulk scene it felt rushed to me, like they didn't finish the job on the CGI.
Are we happy with the arc of Thaddeus Ross?
I guess I don't think I was until the final scene when he's on the raft and he's caged, and he gets to talk to his daughter. And at that point, I feel like, okay, I feel decent about this arc.
For me, it was when Anthony Mackie says, you did a good job accepting responsibility.
Yeah.
Because how many times do we see characters or just people in general not accept responsibility for the horrible things they've done?
Right? Politicians.
That there, accepting responsibility is like, okay, there was true change of heart in this character, and he's having to pay the consequences for his actions, but he took responsibility instead of just lock me up, whatever.
Right.
And he had a reason. He was completely motivated by this relationship with his daughter. So, if you have good motivation that's clear to all of us, and that's what's driving you, even if he didn't have a come back to sanity at the end, I don't think it would have been as good. But I liked it.
I just wanted to briefly bring up that I really love how they brought Isaiah Bradley back.
Yes.
I'm so
awesome.
glad you mentioned that.
If there were any moments when I was getting emotional, which sometimes in Marvel now, it's difficult to get emotional, right? To feel emotional attachment. We just got a brief tease of that character in Falcon Winter Soldier. But to feel what he has gone through and to feel the connection to so many things in the world nowadays as well, too, and you can feel that there's weight.
Yeah.
That character meant so much to so many people, just in terms of what it's representing.
Sure.
Right? And so much that he's gone through. So those are the only moments in this whole film where I felt emotional is when Isaiah Bradley was on that screen, and especially when he got released and everything. It just those moments hit me so well.
Credit to Carl Lumley. I think he does just a fantastic job in this movie. Yes. Obviously very serious because his entire life has been, just a complete mess and the horrible things that have happened to him. But every once in a while, he's got that kind of fun repartee with Sam, and it just makes him a more well-rounded character. I thought it was really good.
Say it again.
Okay, it's time to score Captain America: Brave New World. What did you give this film? I think the person who enjoyed it the most is maybe Gover. So we're gonna start on the possibly up note.
All right. Well, hold on. Just because he's enjoyed it doesn't mean he's going to give it a high score.
That's
We've
true.
learned that lesson.
All right, it's a fact.
You've learned nothing on this show.
Yeah, that's true. He's going to bait and switch us right here.
Giancarlo Esposito can do no wrong. That guy is a badass. I love watching him in this to the point where I wanted more, and I think that's what you want. I think you
Yes,
always leave wanting more, and I thought he was excellent. Anthony Mackie, we've said it before, is tremendous. I love Anthony Mackie as the new Captain America. I think he's tremendous. And I had a problem with the Falcon character a little bit. Not that he did a bad job, but I just thought there was no charisma on screen. And I liked how they tied in different things from the MCU without requiring you to know them, but at the same time, it felt like a car wash almost, right? So, like, for example, like the president's right-hand head of security is a former widow.
Yeah.
And that brings you back to Black Widow. Okay, fine. She's trained in the Red Room, all these things. Now, again, my parents go see this. They don't need to know what the Red Room is. But as an MCU fan, I'm like, oh, I appreciate that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, then you get a cameo in there, which I'm not going to spoil for you. And you're like, okay. And then the Black Widow reference, and they reference other things throughout the MCU. And it's just like, okay, how many are we going to try to throw in the blender and make work here? So as much as I appreciate them, I'm also like, okay, like, let's pick and choose. So at the end of the day, I thought I was entertained in the theater, but I think I was only entertained because I know the homework. I am a Marvel 300 level course student. And so for me, I was able to follow along, had no problem with that, rooted for the characters, all those things I should be doing. I just don't know if my wife, for example, would care. Okay. Or my son for that matter. So for me, I'm giving it a 5.5. I thought it was entertaining in the moment. I will not watch this again unless I have to do the homework, and I think that's the problem. So 5.5 for me.
All right. I really had a few problems with the movie. I thought it was a little disjointed for the first 2/3 of the movie. We mentioned the hopping back and forth in different places and discovering, wait, no, it's a different character. Oh, it's a secret character. And then we find out, Dr. Stearns is like broccoli head, and he can give the percentages of what people are going to do. I don't think they established that well enough. Like he didn't seem that good at it. So I did have some problems with it. I do like the two main characters, Sam and Joaquin. I did enjoy their chemistry. Harrison Ford did a fine job. Final third of the movie, I thought the action was great. Some of the fighting action, Giancarlo Esposito, you don't usually get action fights out of him. He usually just his character alone is enough, but it's cool to see him take that to another level. So I found it somewhat enjoyable, and I really do think a lot of stuff is going to get lost. I think there was a little too much jammed in there, but I was still moderately entertained. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. Justin Bradford.
All right. Again, I like Anthony Mackie as Captain America, and I know there's been heat just in pop culture about what he said, but he's right. It's not about Captain America representing a country. Captain America represents an ideal and principles and morals. Right. That's what the character was developed for.
And he fully embraces it.
And that's why Captain America, originally, Steve Rogers is punching the shit out of Nazis. Because the Nazis are people. So Anthony Mackie saying that Captain America represents more than a country is absolutely correct, because that's why I love the character of Captain America, because Captain America represents what is right.
What we strive to be.
And what we strive to be, what we want to be as people. And that's why I like those lines at saying how he inspires people differently than Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers was a super soldier. Anthony Mackie's character of Sam Wilson not being a super soldier and what he's still able to accomplish is what's inspiring as well. That he's able to do so much without being a super soldier. And I do love how they joked about it and addressed it, and he even's like, Bucky's full of all that. She's taking a serum. But I like how they addressed it because it makes it more real that way, instead of just, oh yeah, you're right, I shouldn't have taken it. No, they addressed that. It's funny that, boy, you could have stood up a better fight against Red Hulk if you would have had that, right? But he still found a way to win that battle.
Yeah.
So that's why I like how Anthony Mackie has taken a hold of the reins of Captain America, because he gets the character. And in any of these films, whether it's any universe, right? Star Wars, Marvel, anything, you want the actor to understand the character they're playing, especially if it's over multiple roles or multiple films.
Yep.
Right? You want them to understand the character, not just doing it for the sake of doing it. Where it is funny how Harrison Ford jokes. He's like, it's commerce, baby. I did it for the paycheck.
Yeah.
He gets it, but fans want these people to understand the roles, and it makes you fans of them. Like how we've said, we want Anthony Mackie to do well. We want him to succeed in this role because you can tell he gets it. And so many people take these roles because they get it. All that to say that I do like him as Captain America, even if I didn't necessarily fully enjoy the movie and love it. I still liked it enough because I like the direction they've taken Captain America. And that's very important because now I'm curious of, okay, what are they going to do next? Are they going to actually redevelop the Avengers? Some form or fashion, yes. But how are they going to get to that point? Because right now, it hasn't been extra celestial, or they haven't done stuff with the multiverse. They went away from that for a bit because they had to.
We needed it.
So we needed a break from that. But it's going to be curious how they continue to develop that. So while this movie didn't take huge strides in getting us there, they at least established Sam Wilson as the new Captain America, and that he understands the importance of he has to be the leader, that he is the leader. And that right there is important enough. Like, okay, the movie did a little bit, did just enough to say, okay, we're taking another step forward in these phases. Now we have the new Captain America. I did enjoy Harrison Ford in his role. He played curmudgeon-y and grumpy quite well, but also a little bit of heart in there too. And I'm glad we got a little bit of closure with Liv Tyler's character as well too. We heard her voice. Wasn't sure if we're actually going to see her.
I wasn't sure either. I thought that was the deal she'd call.
At best, we'd see the picture on the mantle.
Yeah, exactly. So they kept teasing that, right? And if anything, this movie almost felt more like a sequel to Hulk than a Captain America sequel, right? Like they meshed it together. So overall, I enjoyed it in the moment. It has its place. There are much better Marvel films out there, and it's not a review bomb by any of us. I think it's just with expectations, which you compare it to in the Marvel Universe, where it's going to fall is not going to be anywhere near the top for me, and that's okay. It didn't stink. It wasn't a stinker by any means.
Right.
So for that, I'm with Jim. I give it a 6.5.
Wanted it to be better. I was rooting for it. Yeah.
There's 3 Marvel projects coming out this year. This one, of course, and then Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. I believe that's all 3 theatrical movies.
Those are the ones I know of.
That are coming out. And I've got to, you guys, this is, after seeing this movie, which again, I was entertained by in the theater, Marvel needs a home run here at some point. They had Deadpool and Wolverine and made $1 billion. That's fine. I just mean for the multiverse saga.
Like in the MCU.
Yes.
Like
true MCU. In the true MCU
true
with
canon.
traditional characters. Yeah. It's, one of these movies has got to be big.
Fantastic Four has potential.
I know it does, but
Thunderbolts, I think, is going to be highly entertaining, maybe not the best.
And I'm fine with that.
And I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. It's not taking itself too seriously.
Like even with the marketing, the Wheaties box, everything like that, they're setting it up for that, which is fine. It's almost like they're fully aware. Like we just want to entertain and blow your socks off with like fun.
Hey, summer blockbuster, I'm all day. I'm fine with that.
Absolutely.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeremy Gover has our big question.
What's the greatest opening scene of a movie you've ever seen? I'm going to start with Bradford on this one. Oh, Crystal Skull. Nice choice.
No. Raiders of the Lost
Don't you put
Ark,
those
baby.
filthy words into his mouth.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, the heist scene to start all off with the big boulder. I mean, you still have a stunt attraction show at Walt Disney World dedicated to that. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
You mentioned the boulder. If there's an image that pops in your head that's a prop, is it the boulder? Is it the bag?
Is it the gold
weight
idol
of the bag?
It would be the switch.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the image. It's the switch.
Yes. Yeah. It's awesome.
It's perfect. Awesome. Like that is one of the most perfect opening scenes to establish the kind of movie you're going to experience too. Adventure with a little bit of comedy as well.
It establishes the feature you're about to see. It establishes the character very, very well about what his background is. And it's so great. It's
hope I didn't steal anybody's.
Nope.
Okay, great.
No, but
Jimmy, what you got?
You can't go wrong on that. No. And I'm going to purposely go a little left of field.
Okay.
If you've watched this podcast or heard this podcast for any length of time, I have mentioned multiple times that I love when a movie opens with a long take, an uncut scene. That we're talking beginning of Goodfellas, going through the restaurant, maybe Boogie Nights when you're just, panning through everybody in the club and you see all the main characters. I love that. I'm a big sucker for that. So I'm just, to go against my own type, I'm not going to pick that. But I'm going to go into, there are cuts in this, and a lot of them, and it's actually the edits and cuts that are done so well that they make the movie because they are set to the beat of the music. And I'm going with the opening scene with Ansel Elgort in Baby Driver.
Oh, that's a solid choice.
That is just, when I watch that movie for the first time, I'm going, am I watching one of the best opening, for a movie ever that's not like Saving Private Ryan or something? Right. Yeah. It was just so well done, and I think it just doesn't get enough attention. So I'm bringing up Baby Driver.
Did that win Best Editing for in the Oscars?
I don't think it did.
Well, it definitely needed to be considered because that alone was pretty great.
Just on that. Yeah.
Mine is, I'm going documentary on this one, you guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
I know people are screaming at their YouTube, at their devices right now, saying, "Up! It's got to be up!" Fine.
Sure.
But mine is from a documentary from, I believe, 2008. Have you guys ever seen, I'm sure you have not, it probably made like $12 at the box office. Have you guys ever seen It Might Get Loud?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so Jimmy Page, The Edge, and Jack White
Wow.
all get together. And it takes the angles of all three and their rock star personas and all that stuff, right? And they talk about basically how they came up in music and all this stuff. And I'll be honest and tell you that, just for a side note, if you go see it or if you buy it or whatever the case is, the bonus features, the extras, are better than the movie, if that can be possible, because they're teaching each other their best songs. So Jack White is teaching Jimmy Page how to play Seven Nation Army. And it's just, and then I think Jimmy Page is teaching The Edge how to play Kashmir. And it's just unbelievably awesome to see the three of them just, banter about their craft. But the opening scene, though, that I refer to is Jack White on a farm in Tennessee. And he's like hammering in something, you're like, oh, what's he doing? It's kind of wood plank, and he's hammering. And he makes a guitar out of everyday stuff. He's got a battery in it, and he plays this guitar, whatever. And then he looks at the camera and he goes, "Who says you need to buy a guitar?" And then it cuts, and it goes to intro. It's so awesome. So mine is It Might Get Loud.
I can't wait to discover it.
If you can watch it on YouTube, just the intro.
Sounds like an all-star.
After you're done with this episode, go do that.
So what is your favorite opening scene to a movie? Doesn't necessarily have to be the best of all time. But just one that just delights you to no end. Was it, watching an Imperial Star Cruiser take over the screen? Was it Saving Private Ryan for the, terrifying emotions? There's so many that could be in this category. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know through our YouTube channel. You can comment. Podcast listeners, please hit us up on our social media platforms. I'm Jim Chandler Now on all my platforms. Justin B. Bradford. Are you on most?
Yep.
That's Justin B. Bradford. And Gover, you go under a few aliases.
Well, I have to, unfortunately.
Thanks to a hacker.
Yeah, thanks to a hacker, I have to. On Twitter, because it'll always be Twitter, not X, is It's Gover Time. On Instagram, it's Gover JKG. And on Blue Sky, it's also It's Gover Time.
Okay. You know how to find us. Hunt us down. Let us know, what opening scene did you love? Tell us what you thought of Captain America: Brave New World.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.